Chapter 1. In the Beginning. It was the early days of the spring chestnuts, when the sun reached its zenith, casting its golden rays upon the blooming earth. An early spring day unveiled itself upon the Vermorian flatlands. The zephyrs whispered gently, caressing the land with a tender touch. The air, cool and invigorating, mingled with the scent of new beginnings. Like a shy performer peeking out from behind a veil, the sun emerged from its cloudy curtain, bestowing its warm glow upon the world. Across the vast expanse, fields stretched like a patchwork quilt, prepared for the planting season. Amidst this picturesque scene, a little golden-brown furred mouse-pup ventured forth. She was adorned in a tunic of vibrant yellow, worn and well-loved, its hem reaching just past her knee. A small piece of cheesecloth graced her head, with her ears playfully poking through, serving as a charming head covering. She further donned an old apron, decorated with a delightful pattern of flowers tied around her neck, resembling a capacious cape. With the grace of youth and the wonder of innocence, she pursued a butterfly, dancing through the meadow and up a nearby hill, drawing closer to the edge, overlooking her humble abode and the fields that sustained her kin. At this precipice she came to a halt, her gaze fixed upon the grandeur that unfolded before her, enraptured by the vastness and majesty of the world beyond. It was a moment filled with awe as she took in the world before her.
Ruuna! Honey! Come down now. It's time to munch.
A motherly voice called as it carried through the wind.
Oi, I'll be down in an instant.
Young Ruuna's childish voice replied playfully.
All right. Don't be late. I fear our fare might get cool soon.
The young mum warned before going back inside.
Right, Mr. Butterfly, I'm going to go home now and munch. I'll be back after. I promise.
Ruuna told her little fluttery friend before returning back toward her home. Descending the grassy slopes of the cliffside hill, the young mouse-pup's keen eyes, shining orbs of deep orange, soon alighted upon distant figures working in the fields. Her father, accompanied by two other beings, one of whom she recognized as her dear sister, and the other, a trusted companion of their family, toiled diligently, guiding a sturdy sleigh that assiduously plowed the fertile fields. She enthusiastically waved her paw to them.
Oi, Rosalind! Dada! I'm going home to feast now!
She called, with her paws cupped around her mouth. The distant figures stood and waved back, confirming to her that she was heard. A joyous smile blossomed upon her visage, and a delightful giggle escaped her lips. Remembering that she was hungry, she continued traversing the path leading her back home, eager to partake in her mum's homemade feast. In the sloping grassy backyard, nestled behind the weathered farmhouse adorned with hues of blue and brown, a picturesque scene unfolded. Spread out upon a checkered blanket, an idyllic afternoon picnic awaited betwixt the dwelling and the aged, partially empty woodshed. At the epicenter of this culinary marvel resided a large wooden bowl, brimming with a delicious spring salad. Within its verdant depths, a medley of vibrant radishes, purple and golden carrots, luscious early lettuce, and hearty chestnuts intertwined, creating a tapestry of flavors. Seasoned artfully with an assortment of herbs and an array of other nuts, it promised a delightful symphony of textures, the crunchiness of the early root vegetables marrying harmoniously with the nutty undertones. Adjacent to this verdant masterpiece, Mum's renowned baked potatoes graced a grand plate. Meticulously prepared, they were lovingly mashed and infused with fragrant herbs, chives, and rich butter, resulting in a velvety indulgence that would surely enchant the taste buds. Furthermore, slices of fresh, warm bread beckoned, their golden crusts inviting one to partake in their simple yet comforting embrace. And to wash away the delectable fare, a sweet elixir of strawberry cordial stood ready, its ruby hue glimmering enticingly in the sunlight. The very essence of this feast filled the air. It could even bring the imaginary rock giant out from hiding in the distant mountains, Ruuna thought as she approached.
Mom, the fare smells so good. Are we having friends over?
Ruuna asked as she opened and went through the yard gate, forgetting to close it.
Yes, Harriet is coming over. Oh, mind the gate, honey, lest we want the beetles to invade our feast,
the young mousewife said, reminding her young, sometimes forgetful daughter to keep the gate closed. Ruuna stopped and turned to see that the gate was still open, swaying in a stray gust. In a huff she tottered over to close it again. Amidst a gentle squeak and a melodic clatter, the weathered wooden gate trembled, finding its place as it closed and secured itself.
Right. Oh, does that mean Dilly's coming over too?
Ruuna asked excitedly. Swift as a dragonfly, Ruuna darted forth, eager to lend a helping paw with the cutlery her mom was carrying.
I invited Harriet over as thanks for assisting to till the fields this year. And I inquired if Dilly, too, desired to join. She said that she was more than happy to tag along to see you.
Unable to contain her growing enthusiasm, Ruuna wagged her tail with excitement, her tiny frame trembling with delight.
We must be good until they arrive, and that means carefully helping me spread these utensils for our guests.
Right.
Ruuna resolved, barely able to contain her excitement.
Oh, I hope they get here soon. I want Dilly to meet Mr. Butterfly.
Ruuna giggled as she spoke.
Mr. Butterfly? Is this a new friend you've made?
Ruuna nodded eagerly, excited to share about her adventures with the mysterious fluttering friend.
Where is he now? Is he out in the fields helping to till?
No, he's up there, atop the cliff.
Ruuna said as she pointed up to where she had been playing before.
Well, maybe he will fly down for a nice afternoon splash of strawberry cordial.
Don't be silly, Mum. Butterflies can't have cordial.
The mouse mum entertained the idea as she poured a beaker to drink.
Oh? Why not?
Because it would make their bellies big and plump, and they'd be too heavy to fly.
Ruuna explained, rather seriously. Her mum nearly sprayed her cordial everywhere as she laughed at the idea of seeing a big, plump butterfly struggling to flutter in the sky. As they awaited the arrival of their esteemed guests, the two mice, mother and pup, engaged in a delightful exchange of words, their banter weaving a tapestry of laughter and affection. Several hundred paces away, perched upon the gentle rise of a sprawling meadow, a figure emerged, casting a shadow against the horizon. He stood diminutive in stature, reminiscent of a gopher, wearied by the arduous passage of 3 sunsets over treacherous terrain. Gaunt and emaciated, his slender frame spoke of a prolonged hunger that had endured for what felt like endless seasons, yet his round pot-bellied gut aimed to dispute that idea. The creature's beard, though modest in size, appeared encrusted with twigs, mud, and the detritus accumulated since his last washing, though who knows how long ago that was. The remainder of his fur bore the marks of filth and grime, mirroring the mud-stained trousers and leather waistcoat he wore. Upon reaching the summit, he halted, allowing the refreshing zephyr to caress his countenance, while surveying the panorama that unfolded before his gaze. With a deliberate sweep from left to right, a sight ensnared his attention. A time-worn farmhouse, its form discernible in the distance.
Finally someplace a beast can get some grub to fill his poor empty gut.
He reached down to his belt, and with nimble paws unfastened the tether that held his trusty, weather-beaten water bladder. The last remnants of precious liquid met his parched lips, quenching his thirst with each hearty gulp. Soon the sack was empty, and he wiped his face with his arm as he cast the sack off to his side. Drawing in a deep breath, he expelled it with a resolute grunt, determined to press on toward his new destination. As the sun shifted into cloudy skies, Ruuna's patience began to wane, her anticipation mingling with an undercurrent of unease. The arrival of Dilly and her devoted mother seemed to be delayed, causing her heart to beat with a restless rhythm. Observing her anxious pup, Lilac thought up some words of encouragement.
Darling, why don't you meet with Mr. Butterfly atop the hill where you were playing before? See if you two could spot Dilly and her mum coming.
Lilac suggested, as her daughter produced an almost worried but serious look on her face. Dilly had never been late for anything, Ruuna thought. What could be keeping her from Mum's great spring picnic? With a stress like that of a boulder weighing on her chest, she only murmured one word as she got up to leave for the cliff-top hill.
Okay.
Beware aloft, my child. I wouldn't want you to stumble and get hurt.
Lilac's words were wise ones, though they appeared to graze Ruuna's ears, barely registering in her troubled mind. Unfazed by the fading echoes of her mother's counsel, the young mouse passed through the creaking wooden gate, retracing her steps toward the hill where she had frolicked and reveled in mirthful play. Yet the spectre of unease persisted, clinging to both mum and pup like the morning mist to the verdant meadows. Lilac stayed at the picnic, watching her child hike back up the hill as an ominous silhouette approached the homestead. Lilac noticed the shadow and turned to meet who it was that had approached, though the sun made it difficult to identify the beast.
Oh, nice day for a picnic, eh, Mum? Got any victuals to spare a beast in his plight?
Had her husband been with her, Lilac would have told the beast to turn tail and leave, but she was alone in this moment. Biding time in case Brian would come, she maintained a kind demeanor in the gopher's company.
Oh, I suppose I could spare some mash and a scoop of salad.
A deceiving smile grew on the creature's visage, bearing the freshly missing fang in his upper jaw, as he took the opportunity to take new provisions and perhaps something more.